For many generations, like my generation, the Bob Marley Legend album was an essential part of your music collection. Now, the reggae legend's brief but amazing life, only lived to 36, is on the big screen. Joining me at the desk, entertainment commentator, as he does every week, the movie analyst himself, Shane A. Bassett. How are you?
Hello, Tim. I'm not doing too bad, thanks.
Now, a dramatic life story, of course, brief life, but an amazingly bountiful life of Bob Marley is now on the big screen.
Yeah, it's been a lot of music biography films lately, and this is one of the better ones. I think that Bob Marley's been resurrected. This actor who plays him is so good. He encompasses the reggae icon. And I'm not a big fan of reggae music. That's never been my thing, but I was really fascinated about his story because he was abandoned when he was young. He had really adversity against him, and he came up through the ranks on his own almost to be a famous musician, iconic singer, and a humanitarian as well. Yeah. They go into that. So he did a lot of good for the world. Quite
remarkable. Where would we see it, and what do you give it?
Oh, look, I'm going to give it a 3. 3 stars out of 5.
Pretty solid.
It's a little bit slow and a little bit sad at times, but just really well done, and you can see it in cinemas.
Okay, in cinemas. Yeah. I'll make sure I get along to that because it is a little bit of a soundtrack of my life in many ways.
Oh, the soundtrack's magnificent.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Now, Dakota Johnson stars in another Marvel story.
Yeah, this is our first superhero movie of the year. I'm not a big fan of superhero films. Okay. This one's kind of been tacked together. However, Dakota Johnson saves it somewhat because I like her so much and she can actually act very well. She's the daughter of Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith, so it's in the Bloodlines. She plays a paramedic who's a clairvoyant and finds out these powers can be used for good use, and sort of meets some other people with similar powers, and they get together and do some superhero things in New York in the 90s. So that's also got a good soundtrack as well.
I've been to plenty of these with 3 children and growing up over the last few years.
They're all blending into one, right?
It is a little confusing at times. What kind of scoreline are we going to give this one?
1.
1?
Yeah, it's only a 1.
To go.
It's a harsh movie to watch. I did not enjoy it, and it's all over the place. If you're trying to watch, it's a little bit better than Argyle from a couple of weeks ago, but not much.
Okay, now, best from the past, Ace Ventura cult comedy, released 30 years ago, of course, in February 1994.
That's right. February 1994, Jim Carrey's world changed and we were introduced to him, superstar. That comedy, it doesn't really stand the test of time if you rewatch it now. It was controversial at the time. It had some very risque jokes in it. Still that way now. But Jim Carrey, and the funny thing is, he also had The Mask and Dumb and Dumber that same year. 1994, 30 years ago. He was in the Hollywood stratosphere immediately.
Oh, he was hot. Truman Show, was it?
The Truman Show he was nominated for a lot of awards for, and that's probably my favourite movie of his. Directed by an Australian, Peter Weir, as well. The Truman Show is fantastic. But people love Ace Ventura. There was a cartoon series, there was a sequel, When Nature Calls. Very big character. But he doesn't act very much anymore, Jim Carrey.
He was massive.
Doesn't do much at all.
Now, awards, BAFTA Awards, Monday. Oppenheimer leading the nominations.
Yeah, it's going to clean up, as I always been saying all years, and it has done for every awards it's been nominated for so far. There's some Australians involved, though. Margot Robbie, she's nominated for Barbie, of course. I don't think she'll win. I think Emma Roberts will get that for Poor Things. And they have a Rising Star Award, which is really interesting. So they pick 5 or 6 different young actors and they put them in a Rising Star category. And we've got 2 Australians there. So Jacob Elordi, who played Elvis in Priscilla. He's also in Saltburn. And Sophie Wilde, who was in a great film called Talk to Me. Very popular film all around the world. So those 2 have been nominated for a Rising Star, and screenwriter Tony McNamara for Poor Things, which is still one of my favourite movies of last year.
Now, the Shane A. Bassett crystal ball works pretty well in and around awards season. Anything that you want to predict from the BAFTAs?
I'll take an easy one, and that'll be Robert Downey Jr. He will not lose. He can't lose.
In Oppenheimer.
He's a lock for Oppenheimer, So the 11 nominations Oppenheimer has, it'll probably win all 11, maybe 10. But I think it'll win every single one.
He's remarkable.
And BAFTAs are a really good indication to what's going to win an Oscar. These are the British Academy Awards. So they usually follow over.
Okay, happening on Monday. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Tim.
Do it again next week.
Yep.